Welcome to Engaging Kitsap, a new positive local forum where we bring engaging people, ideas, and organizations into our BCAT studio. Port Orchard Mayor Rob Hutansu and Dean Kelly, Principal Architect with Rice Fergus Miller, are here to talk about the exciting Port Orchard Community Event Center project. Currently in the design phase, the center will provide a central gathering place and multi-purpose facility in downtown Port Orchard that will house the city's Kitsap Library branch and a variety of event spaces. Welcome to Engaging Kitsap.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So, Mayor, where in Port Orchard will this event center be built?
Well, the city has already purchased the current Kitsap Bank site on Bay Street on the waterfront next to the marina.
And so the Orchard Avenue Plaza is adjacent to that. Tell us about it.
It's an exciting space where you have a place for gathering, outdoor events, seating. We're going to have a permanent home for our farmers market, access to the waterfront and the shoreline when we conduct the shoreline restorations, and an opportunity for food trucks to provide food and amenities to events that happen in this space.
Now that we know a little bit about where and what, can you give us some background about what the purpose and the activities and inputs you received about needs?
Yeah. Early on in this process, there was a campaign called Imagine Port Orchard and an extensive amount of outreach to the community. So we gathered their input on what they wanted to see in an event center in our community. And what we heard was the need for meeting and event spaces, someplace that, a service club could have their fundraiser, the wedding venue, and of course, we have a need for a modern and new library on our downtown. So that's another thing that our community asked for in this public process.
In looking at the maps of the area, the surrounding areas, this is going to take a lot of collaboration, isn't it, with a lot of different agencies?
Absolutely. We've got the Port of Bremerton and their marina there. They and DNR control some of the property that we're going to be using for the Orchard Street Plaza. Of course, we have Kitsap Bank and their new corporate headquarters that'll be built next door. We have the library as an obvious partner in this process. And of course, then we also have the state of Washington and Bay Street as a state highway. And we intend to rebuild Bay Street also.
Lots of coordination.
Yes.
Nice. Well, Dean, so you're going to share with us some of the architectural details for the event center. And I'd like you to introduce us to the Rediscovery design theme and how it plays out architecturally.
Sure. Thank you, Colleen. Our main concept with Discovery and Rediscovery was all about creating connections back to the waterfront. The waterfront and the shoreline in downtown Port Orchard is a shared part of our cultural heritage. And for so many decades, it's really been largely inaccessible. We've had surface parking lots, private businesses. So we really see this as an opportunity for the community to connect back to that waterfront. And that's what all this idea about rediscovery and discovery is. In terms of discovery, finding ways to see new views, new vantage points, new ways to access and get close to the water. There'll be elements of the history of the area sprinkled throughout this. And in terms of rediscovery, we hope that as people experience this space, they'll find new things that they didn't know about, and you may uncover different details each time that you visit the space. Just like nature is nuanced and changes over time, that's also a big part of what we want to accomplish with this building. So when we start to look at some of the renderings and the walkthrough, you'll start to see some elements where things shift either throughout the course of the day, and as it transitions into night. And then really kind of central to that was being flexible so that we could accommodate a large group of different users within the space.
Sounds really innovative.
It's been a really fun project and a great thing to be working on.
So let's transition to talking a little bit about the interior. I know there's been a lot of effort placed on making sure that the space can accommodate a variety of activities for all different ages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We want to create enough variety of spaces so that there's a spot for kind of everyone in the community and the different needs, but also make sure that we make those spaces kind of designed to accommodate those different uses. So, for instance, within the library space, we have dedicated areas for the teens and for the kids, as well as kind of an adult reading room. When we get up into the event space, we have a very flexible area where we can host, as the mayor mentioned, events like a wedding or a conference. The space can be open and very large, or it can be subdivided into smaller meeting spaces. And then we have a series of kind of smaller rooms that could accommodate like a smaller meeting, say in the 6 to 12 person range. And all of this kind of all opens out onto a big expansive deck that'll offer views of the waterfront. So really kind of trying to create a space that is for the community and can host kind of all these different groups and users who we hope to see in the Community Event Center. So what you're seeing right now, this is the main entry to the Community Event Center from the Orchard Street Plaza. So up above, you'll notice the big Port Orchard. That was part of the outreach efforts to come up with that name. And one of the things that really worked out is we have the word orchard kind of right along the Orchard Street Plaza. And then you see the big stairs that take you up to the second story deck right there off of the main entry. As we work our way over to the second view, a little bit about the transformation that we kind of talked about, changing its character from day to night. You can see from the Bay Street side the illuminated community logo there. So in addition to the Port Orchard, on the one side we have community, which obviously was really central to the character of this building. You'll also notice below that we have a little bit, as the mayor mentioned, it's primarily a space for the library and also for the community events, but we do have a little retail space that you can see there on the bottom corner to help activate Bay Street with some other uses. We also have lots of opportunity for public art and for viewing, so we want to have some fun with that. As I mentioned, kind of trying to tell the story of the history of this place. We could see inlays in the pavement, in the paving patterns and materials that actually form the plaza. It could be kind of a reference to the historical shoreline. There could be little icons or things set into that landscape that kind of talk about things like the mosquito fleet or other key elements of the history. And then kind of walking through the rest of the exterior of the building, this view shows you what it would look like standing up on the second story deck. This is really an extension of the waterfront trail, and we're really excited about the opportunity here for people to kind of see the waterfront from a new angle, this new vantage point. And again, it'll really support lots of events. And then as we work our way down to the Bay Street side, this is the teen portal that we're looking at right now. The teen portal, again, will kind of flow right from the interior where the library space has their teen programming to this exterior space. You'll see this green glass wall trying to interject a little bit of kind of color and fun to this area, but to create an immersive experience where the teens can really feel a sense of ownership in there. You'll see kind of that color both in the floor and also that glass enclosure, but really a space that kind of can spill out and activate that the sidewalk there on Bay Street. And then as we work our way back to the waterfront side, this is the kids area. Again, an extension of the interior of the library space where there could be story time, different fun activities, and this opens up to kind of the bigger waterfront trail that you see in the rest of this image and the event space kind of right in the middle. So now that we've kind of walked through the outside, I want to take your viewers on a quick walkthrough to kind of show some of the key areas of the interior of the space.
Yes, please do.
All right, so starting right here, this is again the Orchard Street Plaza. And again, that idea of transformation from day to night, you can see kind of some of the shadows starting to appear from the Port Orchard. And now we're kind of walking into the main entry. There's the stairway. The big monumental stair that'll take you up to the second floor decks, and that'll be open to the public anytime when the center is open. And now let's pause here at the main entry for just a moment. This is a really key space, kind of your first impression when you walk into the event center. We have this feature over here on the right that really connects the first floor to the second, and again, kind of another large stair that would take you from this kind of entry lobby up to the second floor. One other thing that I want to mention here while we're looking at this view, as you're kind of seeing into the library space, is we wanted to have a really natural and neutral material palette with lots of wood, kind of honoring the timber heritage of this place. But then to have a little bit of fun. So you'll see a little bit of these pops of color kind of in distinct areas. So let's keep moving this along. So now we're kind of walking into this atrium space, and this space is really exciting. I'm really excited about how this space has the potential to connect the ground floor of the library area up to the event space. We're going to take a look at this feature wall, and let's pause here for just a moment. Again, this is kind of this flex zone, talking about accommodating different users and different types of groups in the space. We could see community events happening kind of in this area, as well as kind of different varieties of programming that the library can provide. But really this connection from the first to second floor. And what you're seeing right here in the middle of this image is something that I'm really excited about, this feature wall. This is kind of a representation of the Sinclair Inlet, and you can kind of start to see a little bit of parts and pieces of the water and the land, but there'll also be this idea of kind of some of that history that'll come into play here. And we're still working on exactly what that will be, but this is kind of a really key showpiece to the project. So let's kind of keep the walkthrough going. And again, that idea of this skylight up above kind of casting a shadow so that this wall that's the feature will kind of change throughout the day. And I think it'd be really exciting if you come here one time and it looks one way, and then the next time you come, it's quite different. So now we're going to kind of take another look. Again, that idea of connection, connecting to the waterfront. We have these large windows that provide views both from Bay Street and out to the waterfront. And now we're walking over to a space here for the adults. So this is the adult reading room. And you can see here, if we pause for just a brief moment, lots of kind of cozy atmosphere in there with the built-in shelving. We've framed some views with the seat walls that kind of will allow kind of unique vantage points out to the waterfront and across the way towards Bremerton. And, just kind of really an elevated experience that'll be distinct from both kind of the kids and the teens and kind of the general library space.
I love that. Count me in. I'll be reading in there.
Yeah, I kind of want to nestle in there with like a nice cup of coffee and get a good book out. So now we're back in the lobby, and I want to take everyone upstairs. So we're gonna take a step here up the main stairway. So this is kind of taking you from kind of that lower level up into the main community event space. So when we get up here to the top, again, you'll see kind of some of those screening elements that connect from floor 1 to floor 2, and then those big expansive views that, again, connect Bay Street right out to the waterfront. So this is that atrium kind of flex space from shown up on the second floor. And this is an area that can host a whole range of events. And let's pause here really quick. This is kind of our main event space. So kind of a flexible ballroom, if you will. This is showing the bigger space kind of wide open. It can also be subdivided into 2 smaller spaces. So this kind of becomes your banquet room to host big events and things of that nature. And again, kind of those big windows providing the views right out to the waterfront. And we can kind of keep going here, and we'll see a little bit more of this atrium space, and then of course that deck. All these spaces up on this second floor open up to the deck. And then to accommodate, again, a wide variety of users, this corridor will take you in, and these are kind of some more smaller meeting spaces. So these could be kind of a small, 6 to 12 person meeting. We have 3 or 4 of these spaces, as well as some more private kind of phone booth areas for a phone call or things like that. And again, as we kind of walk down this corridor, you're seeing mostly a neutral palette, but some interjection of color and energy. And then lastly here, this is a flexible co-working space. We see this as a technology area where people could come together, a little different feel than some of the other more general spaces throughout the building. And we're just really excited about the potential and opportunities that this building provides, and looking forward to seeing the community really make use of it.
Thank you for that walkthrough. But I got to ask you, what's your favorite detail of the building?
The aspect of discovery and the idea that there will be kind of bigger things that'll kind of jump out at you right when you visit the event center on your first visit, but that there'll be these little elements that as you spend more time, as you maybe explore and kind of go on that sense of discovery, there'll be little nuggets of the history, of the story of kind of the Port Orchard community that you'll be able to uncover. So that idea is really one of my favorite parts of the project, is that you could come to the center 10 times, and on your 10th time, you might find something that you had never seen before.
Wonderful. Well, so Mayor, this is a huge project, and all of us in South Kitsap are really excited about how this will impact the whole community. You've talked about this project as a catalyst for Port Orchard. So tell us what you mean by that, and share a little bit about how this ties in with the rest of plans for downtown.
Absolutely. The creating an active gathering place with our new library and this event center will absolutely be a catalyst and a draw to downtown. You couple that with the shoreline restoration we're planning to do, the access to the water, the expansion of our pedestrian path. This public investment should actually create private investment for the types of projects that we're wanting to see. Mixed-use projects that have ground floor retail and housing elements in them, I think is what we're wanting to see in the master planning for downtown Port Orchard. So this is, the Kitsap Bank headquarters and this community center, I think, are just the start of many exciting things we're going to see in the future.
Yes, and a lot of impacts for Bay Street.
Yes, absolutely. Currently, winter months when we've got heavy rains and high tides, this area downtown already floods. And we know with sea level rise, it's likely to get worse. And so as a result of that, it would be irresponsible to build these buildings at current grades. So we're taking that into consideration. We've received a federal grant for design and most of the construction to completely rebuild Bay Street, raise it a foot and a half, new sidewalks, landscaping, and just to, it's the front porch to what we're building here at the community center and the other planned developments. So we need to make sure that the street is representative of what the other exciting things that we're doing.
Excellent. Thanks for explaining that. This is a pretty elaborate long-term project, which brings me to the last question, which is what's the timeline for completion, I guess, and when would we be seeing groundbreaking?
Well, we'll see the first groundbreaking, I would say, after the first of the year. There's a sewer lift station that's going to be underneath it's currently actually in Orchard Street and what will become the Orchard Street Plaza. So that project breaks ground next year. I know it's not the most exciting piece of this, but it's critical infrastructure. The bank's project should follow shortly thereafter that. They have to build their building before we can tear their building down and start our community event center. So they will, I would hope, late next year, early 2024, break ground on their project. Once they complete their project, it should, there's a number of projects that all should happen about the same time together. The event center, the Orchard Street Plaza, the shoreline restoration and Bay Street, all, coming together about 4 years from now, I believe.
Well, that's so exciting. Thank you both for sharing this project with us. We can't wait to see it become a reality. And viewers can learn more about the Port Orchard Community Event Center and sign up for email updates on the project at the City of Port Orchard's website. And thank you, viewers, for joining us for Engaging Kitsap, a positive local forum where we bring engaging people, ideas, and organizations into our BCAT studio.